Introducing the Nexxus 360, D'Addario's first rechargeable omnidirectional tuner. Visible at every turn, from any angle, no matter where you wind up. Nexxus 360, built for your next stage.
Hey everybody, this is Ted Drozdowski, Senior Editor of Premier Guitar, and I am with Hannah Wicklund, who is playing Third and Lindsley in Nashville on this evening. It's going to be a great show. Place is going to be packed out. Live radio broadcast, totally awesome. And you're going to use that because that's your #1 guitar.
This is. I love this guitar.
Well, should we start with this one then? Why don't you tell us all about this guitar?
Yeah, so this is my Tom Anderson. This is my, their like Strat style guitar. Got a humbucker, 2 single coils, which I pretty much mainly just stay on the bridge or go up to the neck pickup every once in a while for like some like smoother kind of stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, this also got this 5 dB boost switch down here, which
nice.
Whenever you go to take a solo, that comes in handy. But yeah, this guitar is amazing. The neck is probably my favorite part of this and any other Anderson that I have. It's just the playability of these guitars is unmatched in my opinion. The neck just never moves, and it never strays, and it's a beast. So.
And it looks like you've got jumbo frets on there in top condition. They look really nice, and it's a great finish. It's a totally cool instrument.
Thank you.
Now you've been an Anderson player pretty much for your whole life, right?
Yeah.
For your musical life, anyway.
Yeah, my guitar existence has been very much so rooted in Anderson guitars. I got my first one when I was 9. My dad's buddy had an epic collection of guitars and amps and just kind of had like this constant revolving door of stuff. And so he sent it over with my dad. I had just started playing guitar probably 5 or 6 months earlier. My electric before I got into an Anderson was a Daisy Rock, so I really
Daisy Rock.
I really went from went from one tier to the next pretty quick, which I was so spoiled. But he gave us like a wicked deal. He knew I had just gotten started and I had played the guitars. And the thing about these necks is, as a 9-year-old, they're tapered and they're fairly slim. So for my growing hands, it was actually a really great guitar to get started on. So
cool. I noticed you don't have the whammy bar in that. Do you ever play with the tremolo? Or?
I do. It just didn't make it in.
Okay.
It just didn't make. But good observation. Yes.
It happens sometimes, I left it in the bag. I gotta.
Oh shit! It's in New York. Oh,
hey, can I grab another guitar?
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this one. Right. I love the strap, by the way.
Thank you. I've got matching cheetah print straps for both of my main guitars. So this is the Cobra style by Anderson, and more of their telly style with humbuckers. And this guitar is so much fun to play. I really do love a rosewood neck. I mean, the maple is great, but this one I feel like I can sometimes just dig in a little bit more. I feel a little more anchored on this neck, but they're fairly interchangeable guitars in my opinion. Obviously, the humbucker situation, but this one screams a little bit more. This one definitely has a little bit more attitude than this. It can get a little wily, but
it's got a very comfortable kind of weight to it too, as well.
Yeah. The thing that's great about the Andersons, you can see it kind of on here and then on the back here, but they're, they cutaways, and so they're so comfortable. They're just right snug. So
yeah, I like the finish on this one too.
Thank you.
And it's kind of weird. I'm trying to decide if it's some sort of like paramecium going out that way, or if there are flames coming in this way. I feel like it works either way, you know.
Well, I always refer to it as the flame guitar, so
Okay.
I think I see it as the flames, which, you know, I've had to defend my honor when it comes to this guitar. You know, some people don't know if the flames, they just can't decide if it's cool or not, but let me tell you, the flames are really cool. And yeah, they're hand painted, and I love this guitar.
And this is
one
also
of a kind.
way more practical than the Hendrix approach.
Yeah, let's not actually set it on fire.
Well, cool. So we just talked about guitars, but I didn't ask you what strings you have on there. So why don't you tell us about the strings and, you know, the gauge, the brand, the whole deal.
I've been using Diodarios since I was about 9 as well, but I use the NYXLs, 10s. I tried using 11s for a few months, but I made my way back to 10s.
Yeah, 10s are more bendy.
They are more bend. I'm a big bender.
I think bendy's a technical term. So at least it is with me anyway.
So it's a very official term.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Well, shall we work our way over to the pedal board?
Let's do it.
Fantastic.
So let's just start with the orange overdrive, the dirty channel from my amp. I've used the Rocker 30 for about 15 years. And this overdrive is kind of my go-to. It's what I'm using on a lot of rhythm sections for songs, and I really love it as my kind of my bass tone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of adding different overdrives when it comes soloing time, and to kind of just build your tone like that, you know. And so this overdrive, here I'll play just for a second. It's got a lot of depth, a lot of bottom end, which I love. I definitely have the low end cranked a little bit on the dirty channel.
Yeah, and the low end
too.
sounds great on that amp too.
Thank you. Yeah.
Beefy.
Yeah, beefy. It's a good word for it. So that's the orange, and then my my other main pedal that I use, the main overdrive that I have, and I only play with overdrive. I don't really play any songs on clean. But it's the blues driver.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually have the Keeley modified blues driver.
Cool.
Which I honestly couldn't tell you exactly what they do in there to change it, but I do know that when A-B'ing them, I've A-B'd this one to, you know, like a standard Boss blues driver,
Yeah.
and it seems to just take, again, like that bottom end and just kind of, it rounds it out a lot more, and it kind of gives it a little bit more depth. And this one I use, you know, blues driver. I use it for some of the more bluesier kind of songs, and I really love to use it on my neck pickup, and then I use it for a song of mine called Ghost, kind of one of my more, you know, bluesier songs, and I love to throw on the Echoplex with like a slap back delay. I'll show you that real quick. So.
Cool. And what's great about the mod too is, you know, the blues driver is just a ubiquitous pedal. So if you can actually put a different spin on it somehow and give you your own tone a little bit more, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, I definitely see, I probably see more blues drivers on pedal boards than any other pedal, in like the rock sphere when I'm checking out other players' pedal boards and stuff. That one's a staple.
And you have another super popular one right next to it. You've got an Archer pedal.
I do, which I love. My older brother has the real Klon, so, you know, which is, I believe, is fashioned after. But the Archer pedal it's kind of my, it's again mainly used as just a solo tone. So I really like to pair that one with the blues driver. It just kind of,
That's cool. It's like you're getting a little bit more definition and clarity, but also that nice big punch, to put it right out front.
Yeah,
Hit.
and I don't use too much gain on that one. I have this pedal set up a little bit more reserved, so that it is almost just a little bit more of like a tonal boost with a little bit more grit. But
Cool.
yeah, and then I don't use it very often, but this MXR flanger has been on my board for a long time. I think at this point I'm using it like once in a show, just as like a little bit of like a texture, but it's so cool.
It's a classic sound.
It's a classic sound. And then I really love the Pog. Obviously I like to use it tastefully and not, try not to overdo it, but I've pretty much been starting all of my shows with a big Pog riff to kind of get the thing going, which pretty much I always do. I actually go full obnoxious on the intro. I go orange, blues driver, Pog, and this is when I like to throw on the carbon copy.
Nice.
Delay, and I have 2 delay pedals. I keep the Echoplex a little bit more on the slap delay side of things, and then the carbon copy is more of that longer epic solo tone kind of thing. But all of that stuff together sounds like this.
Oh, great. I love the bend with the Pog. That's really awesome.
Yeah, bendy.
It's bendy. Right?
It's bendy.
It's bendy.
Gotta love the bends.
I know.
And then I've had it on this entire time, but I don't play anything without verb, which the Rocker 30, this orange amp doesn't have any verb channel. So I picked out this pedal in Boston. My brother was doing like the Berkeley 5-week program, and I was like 9 years old, and that's why 9 was a very important age for getting my guitar tone together, guys. But I got this T-Rex roommate verb, which for the record, I did have my entire pedal board ripped off one time after a show.
No.
Oh, it was the most heartbreaking thing.
Awful.
And so when we were rebuilding the board, I got the roommate 2. Like the second version that they had put out. It's a tube reverb, and I gotta say, I went on eBay and found like 2 or 3 replacement version 1 of these pedals to use and to have on hand. But it's my favorite reverb. I love it. It's warm. There's like, I pretty much always have it on more of the like a long haul setting, so it's a little bit more just like
expansive.
Yeah, exactly. And then pretty much the last pedal that I haven't taken you through is, well, no, that's not true. I take that back. Of my more effecty overdrive kind of world. The Rotten Apple.
I was curious about the Rotten Apple. I haven't really seen that yet.
It's a very badass fuzz pedal. It's super gritty, and obviously for fuzz you really want, a lot of times you're using it for some single note kind of stuff, and so that's what I have this pedal for. It's for one song in particular.
Nice.
And that's the Rotten Apple.
All right. That has a lot more tone than any other Rotten Apple I've ever seen.
Yeah, my favorite Rotten Apple. For sure.
Yes. And you've got Jerry Cantrell wah. You've got the signature wah, which is cool.
Which that thing, it's just a really great, it allows the tone from the pedals and like whatever I'm doing to just kind of sing a little bit more. I liked this wah because it doesn't add too much on top of the tone. Which is great. And then my absolute favorite pedal, though, I liked to save for last, is my Talk Box.
We did hear the talk box during soundcheck, and it was cool.
Oh, thank you.
What made you pick up a talk box? Everyone does not use those.
No, I've learned that, but I was really lucky. My dad was a very big champion of mine early on, and he was showing me Joe Walsh and Peter Frampton and Jeff Beck and all of the masters of the talk box. And so when we started out as a classic rock cover band when I was young, we were doing Rocky Mountain Way and Sweet Emotion and It's My Life. And so the talk box was originally just a tool for, doing the cover songs that required it. But I definitely absorbed it and kept it with me as I started pursuing my original music and going more down that path. And the talk box it's one of my favorite little tricks. I do like to keep it in my back pocket. I like to not overuse that, kind of like the Pog. I like to be a little bit tasteful and only show it off once or twice in a show.
Yeah, I'm sure the first time it comes out, it gets a great reaction from people too, which is awesome.
Which is why I always save it for the last song.
Yeah, it's nice to have. It's nice to have a few of those things in your pocket.
Yeah,
it's totally cool.
Yeah.
Could you let us hear a little bit of it?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have never tried one of those, and I have to say you're inspiring me.
Oh, you've never tried one?
No, one of these days.
Got to.
I might do that.
If it wasn't so gross, I would say go ahead and try it.
In the age of COVID.
Yeah.
We didn't want to share a Coke.
Yes.
And you have what tuner are you using as well?
Oh, this is the Strobo tuner, which Strobo Stomp.
Okay.
Which this is so cool because the reason I got this tuner is because I'm recording my new album in 432.
Awesome.
And so this pedal has a really great, easy capability of just, it's not too complicated to get to the 432 zone. So yeah, it took me a second to learn because the Strobo tuner is it's like a different thing. And so I had to relearn to tune for 5 minutes when I started using it. How does this work?
Yeah, I remember the big ones, from the old days of being in the studio, and you'd have this thing whipping back and forth. You'd be like, I gotta get it now. It's like
yeah. It's a different head game when you're tuning with one of those. But
it's funny. Perry and I were just talking. Perry, who's one of the guys behind the camera, we're just talking about 432. Versus 440. So what has led you to record your new album? And I want to talk about your new album too, so let's do it.
Cool.
Talk about 432. And I know you've also got, and as we say in the music journalism game, an eponymous album. You put out the Psychobabble single just before things kind of came crashing down for a little while.
Yeah, they did.
And now you're working on this new album, and it's in 432 on top of it. So
it is.
Give us the scoop.
Well, pretty much the inception of it was I was really stoned and watched a really weird documentary one night with a friend, and I think there was some suggesting that the Nazis had something to do with 440 becoming the standardized tuning. Again, I need to go through and do the full research of exactly what I watched that night because I don't remember. But
you heard it here. 440, it's a Nazi plot.
I'm pretty sure, and so it was just very interesting because when it got put in that perspective, whether that is 100% true or not, it was just kind of I guess someone somewhere along the way really did make a decision that 440 is standard, and it's very interesting because with 432, I love numbers, and 432 just in the sequence of the universe and as far as numerology goes and such. That number makes a whole lot of sense for a whole lot of things. And there's actually this really cool experiment that you can do, and you can look it up on YouTube. And they have a plate of sand, and they play music that is in tune to 440. And the sand is just going crazy, and it's just, jumping everywhere, and it looks like mayhem. And then you see a plate of sand that is hooked up to 432, and it creates the most beautiful, perfect, symmetrical design in the sand. Like it's beautiful. And when I saw that visual inside of that really cool documentary, that was what really clicked, and I was like, you know what, that's what I want to do. And I remember it very well, trying to learn All Along the Watchtower, and playing it along to Hendrix and trying to figure it out, and it just always felt off, like it just sounded off. And I believe it's because he was playing in 432.
432, okay.
So I think that there's like, you know, some people out there and who we all know that have dabbled in the 432 game, and it just seemed like a lot of fun. And it made me feel like such a diva having to have the big grand piano in like 2 or 3 different studios being tuned from 440 down to 432. Big production. So that was kind of fun.
Well, does it feel different to you? You know, do things just seem a little more harmonious or in tune, you know?
They do. So there's 2 things that one reason too why it was very easy for me and why I wanted to do it this way is because I'm from Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. So I used to play a lot of touristy kind of gigs and such, and so I'd be playing like 9, 10, 11 shows a week, and they were 3 and 4 hours each. And so some of them would be solo and some of them would be with the band, and when I would play solo, I would tune my guitar down a full step. And then when I would play with the band, for like years, we played half a step down. And it was just a little bit easier on my voice for, you know, for doing those like marathon shows over and over again. So then when I thought about the 432 idea, I was just like, oh, like just within my voice, like I'm just singing flat by just those few cents, and it makes a difference with my vocals, I've noticed. The other thing was something that I learned in the process of making this record, which is I think a lot of us musicians who have, you know, recorded albums and spent a lot of time in the studio know that end of day headache that you can get from, you know, paying attention, but mainly just like having loud speakers blaring back at you for like 10 hours, 11 hours. It's different than playing a show, because, you know, you play the show, you're in it, and then you're done. But when you're in the studio, it's more of like a constant like onslaught, you know, of sound. And I never got one headache. I never felt very tired at the end of recording like I normally would. So it just felt like I had a little bit more energy and just felt like it wasn't as harsh on the being.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds like from your description also, it sounds like you're getting very close to finishing this new record. Are you
Very
done
close.
or very close?
So close, yes. I am very excited for this album to be finished. It's been a labor of love. I've had the songs written for 3.5 years, the whole album. So yeah, it's also been my favorite process and my favorite album in every facet of the word. So
okay.
Yeah.
And does it have a character that's different for you? Do you think like it's going to a different place? And can you describe where that place is a little bit for us?
Yeah, I actually, there is a very big kind of shift, especially mainly in my perspective and like where I was coming from when I was writing the songs. I'd say my last album that I recorded in 2017, I did it here in Nashville, and it was very much in the vein of the music that I had been recording and writing as a teenager, because my band, we started recording and putting out CDs when I was 12. And so, you know, it kind of felt like I had just kind of snowballed into that last record. And with this new one, I kind of took a pause, and you know, I've always been the rock and roll guitar player, singer, and I've always leaned more into the Janis Joplin side of vocals than the Joni Mitchell side of things, you know. And so with this new album, it was both intentional and subconscious, where I leaned into my femininity a little more. See, I can barely say the word. That's how not used to it I am. But it's in a lot of ways, it's kind of like my coming of age story. It's like me passing the baton from girlhood to womanhood. So there's some really more intimate, like ballad songs that really strike a different tone to me. But then I still have obviously my rock and roll edge and have
But of
those
course.
songs on there as well. But they even seem like they're coming from a little bit more of a mature headspace. So yeah, it's and also very representative. It's like, you know, I showed you the flame guitar,
Yep.
which I got when I was 12, which I think very much encompasses the first 15 years of my, you know, musicianship with guitar and everything. And then in the process of recording this new album, and I always said when I was a little girl that I never would play a pink guitar or anything. But I now have a pink Anderson Raven classic that is going to come out when I start playing this new record. So I think visually it's also kind of a cue. It's like I avoided pink for so long, and now I'm like ready to invite that nature of things into my
Cool.
life and my music. So yeah.
I have a pink Strat.
Do you?
Yeah.
We got to jam with the pink guitars sometime.
So, do you have a working title? Yeah, or anything like that, or maybe a target date for the release?
Get back to me on both of those.
Okay, we'll do that. We actually really will do that.
Awesome. I love that.
And let's talk about this beast, which sounds great. Anything that roars that I can be next to makes me happy.
I honestly, I adore Orange as a company. I adore this amp model in particular. All of their stuff is great, but the thing about the Rocker 30 for me is somebody who isn't in like I don't consider myself like hard rock, or I'm not in the metal sphere, which obviously Orange does very well.
Yes.
But the Rocker 30 is that warmer, you know, you can just play some like chiller shit on it, and it really rings beautifully. So
yeah, Peter Green was an Orange person, an Orange player. So there you go. There's a really great tradition right there.
Yeah, there's some really great people out there that have rocked some Oranges.
And you went from playing a Rocker 30 combo to a head with a 2x10, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the reason for the change?
You know, it was kind of just getting into some bigger spaces, but also I think I wanted just a little bit more oomph, which you can get out of this cab. And sometimes I do like to have, I have a second 2x10. I actually have one closed back, one open back. This is the open back. But I like to have, when I can, I like to have both of those set up. And the closed back versus the open back also is a really cool phenomenon, which I love having both when I can.
It is nice. It's nice to be able to blend and mix your tones. It's a totally cool thing. And it's been great talking to you.
Yes,
Thank you
you too.
so much for taking the time to talk to us this afternoon. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure. And thank you for being here with us as well. Make sure to keep coming back to Premier Guitar to see this rig running out a second time, and then see all the other ones that we've got up on the website, will you?